Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Ben from Scoob, Ben Schogler, and today's just quite a brief webinar about using Skoog to support group kind of instrumental provision in the class and looking at that from an inclusion point of view within a mainstream context. Now we can have a look at some different video examples of this a bit later, but I just want to talk through some of the resources that are available for you to use with Skoog, how you might do that, and some tips on things to kind of look for and achieve success with. So first of all, if you're new to Skoog, Skoog is this, which is a tactile musical instrument. It can be lots of different instruments. It doesn't have to be any one instrument. It's a custom interface that's been designed to be used by anyone who maybe not was able to use traditional instruments due to some kind of impairment or disability. And in so doing, what was created was a simple, tactile, customizable, human-centered interface. So this is the Skoog. It's an alluring, playful object, and using this we can play a whole variety of traditional orchestral sounds. In that context, it's used a lot within PMD, special needs music provision, therapy, all kinds of things, but it's also now being used a lot by music services in delivering their group instrumental teaching to enable them to include young people who otherwise would not be able to participate due to a physical disability. In fact, let's have a look very quickly at an example of this. Let's go to the YouTube app here, and I'm just going to open up this YouTube app, which should pop up on your screen. I want to say OK, thank you very much. And now I need to go to add videos to my playlist and have a look. I think I'm going to sneeze actually, which is going to be, oh, pardon me for that. I can never. Don't work with children and animals, or dusty rooms for that matter. So if I type in here Skoog inclusion, maybe with that, is this going to get me with the video that I want? Yeah, inclusive music, this one. So this is a clip. Okay, sorry, I all started a bit quickly there. So this is a clip of a young girl, Martina, who has cerebral palsy, playing a bass part on the Skoog as part of the mainstream primary school performance in terms of group music. She is a very musical, bright kid, but she faces physical challenges from her cerebral palsy, and she is unable, in that respect, to use traditional instruments. So in this context, Glayton Primary are using Skoog to enable her to make music with her peers. So Steve, the teacher, he's set the notes on the Skoog. So one of the things with Skoog is, you decide what instrument it's going to be, and you assign the notes that you need for a particular piece. And then she has to then know where those notes are and which surface to press to play the part she needs to play. She's using traditional score with a few coloured stickers to help her. You actually buy those from Ryman's, the stationers, little circular coloured stickers in 5 colours to help augment your traditional score. Or you can download some resources from our page. But here you can see she's playing alongside her peers and making music with everyone else. So let's just let her play there. Okay, so I'm going to come back to my screen here. So that was just a quick example of Skoog being used in an inclusive way to support inclusion within a mainstream primary school class. Inclusion, I think, is an important advancement in educational policy, and as a result, we have lots of young people with varying abilities in classes with everyone else. and as a result, as teachers and service providers, we need to look to support those to be able to take part in the various activities, music being one of those, and Skoog is perfect for that. So just a quick tour if you're unfamiliar. So Skoog, again, is a tactile device. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick screen share so you can see a little bit of how it works and what we've got going on, and then what I'd like to do is talk about how this can be employed. So let's just go to the screen sharing app here, and we'll just do a quick screen share so I can show you the software on the Skoog. Okay, I'm just going to go straight to the Scoob software. Let's do that screen share. Oh, well, let's not do that. Oh yes, that's fine. It looked funny there for a minute. Okay, so this is the Skoog software, and on here we've got various tabs for choosing different things. This is the Skoog window, and this shows me where I'm touching the Skoog, which side. I can adjust the sensitivity, the volume. On this, which is the note selection, I can customize the note settings. So if I want to select a particular note using the keyboard, I click on the color box, and then I click somewhere else on the keyboard. It changes. I can transpose, I can tune it, all kinds of functionality there. I can also use the preset pentatonic scales, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. And here I can change the octave, I can change the tonic, and I can do all kinds of things there. These are the preset scores, built-in color following resources. We'll move on from those. They're sort of more one-to-one kind of thing, not so useful in a class context, although the principle of using the colored scoring technique is really great for supporting those with moderate learning difficulties in group inclusion in music and more actually, and as a combination with score to help people transition. This is the advanced settings where you can customize the sensitivity by surface, turn sides on, adjust the expressive parameters for the particular instrument in terms of the more expressive qualities of the physical models. This is where we choose instruments. So here you've got all the traditional brass, woodwind, percussion, and strings. And then you've got sampling and MIDI, and we'll not discuss those today because that's not so related to what we're doing here. So I'm going to turn that on now. There we go, back here. So Skoog is this really adaptable electronic musical instrument. It's fully supported in terms of its software. It has its own bespoke software package, which is very easy to use. And so in a class situation where you may have one or two pupils who cannot use the instruments that everyone else is using, then it's possible for you to use Skoog to make sure that they're included and they can progress with the rest of the class and engage in group music making. I'm a great believer in band and in group, because I mean that's really, music is about playing with others. I mean it's lovely to play on your own, but what I heard the other day, a really great phrase, that children need a well-balanced play diet, and I think that relates very much to music as well in terms of solo play, group play, free play, structured kind of themed play, all these different ways of talking about things, and that's in terms of playing as an activity, but also playing music. I think that's pretty specific. So here we're talking specifically about group instrumental teaching, and one of the easiest ways to use Skoog in that context would be following an open strings program for early years, or for an introductory element to when you start working with a group. And that's very simple. All you would do then is select the four. So if you're doing, say, cello, then we just need to tune the sides to C, G, D, and A. So we can select those notes in, and then depending on the access issues that the student has, you may want to tune and how it's presented to them. So you can mount the Skoog, and I can change the angle of presentation depending on what the student needs. Now, we've got more workshops on that and how to position it and these kind of things, but it may be that I can't necessarily maybe access the top one so much, or the front or the top, different ways. But if I only need 4 strings, then I can just use 4 sides, or I can have 4 sides plus first position on one of the strings as well, in addition on one of the colors. And then doing that, I would be able to follow a standard open strings program using the Skoog device and have the individual include. Now, one thing that I think is really, really, really important is essentially leading by example. So and this does place more demands on your time, but you wouldn't be trying to teach a violin class if you couldn't actually play the violin. You may, and then I'll credit you if you do. But you know, so and Skoog is a very easy interface to use, and if you have a developed musicianship or musicality, it really is about, you know, following that your inner ear and how you hear things and just playing it, you know, with a simple interface. But make sure that you can do the pieces that you're assigning to the Skoog players or to the group, and you can show them how to do it. Because, you know, teaching through showing into activities is one of the easiest ways of doing it. Make sure you can do that before entering into the class situation. It sounds silly, but sometimes, you know, and often, you know, we have demands on our time and teaching. You know, I'm going, particularly if you're peripatetic and travel from place to place, and you may turn up at school and say, well, we want this student to use Skoog, and you can say, okay, then what's Skoog, and then you try and find out what it is. So it's important to give yourself the adequate prep time and just make sure that you're able to do what you're asking of the students. And my approach in Skoog is very, very easy to use. And the software, if you're scared of the music tech side, it's very, very simple. If you go to skoogmusic.com, go to our resources section, we've got a whole bunch of videos that show you how to set the different settings. And it's point and click, color-coded, icon-based. It's very easy. Okay, so that was just one thing. So make sure you do a bit of practicing too. So in terms of that, you could use it in an open strings program, which would be really, really simple. Or, you know, following a traditional kind of Suzuki kind of simple songs early as any of those things can be done. So really it's a simple matter of being able to set software. Now, I'm going to go now. Let's have a quick look at, so we had a look at a primary school example playing a simple melody with one of the parts assigned and transcribed to Skoog. Let's just quickly, if I do, what do I do now? If I do a screen share and I have a look at Skoog Music site, I want to show you how you can, we've got a sheet on arranging and composing and doing things for Skoog. So I'm just going to start a quick screen share here. Going to go to share my browser page. There we go, sharing, there we are. Now if I go here, I'm on the Skoog Music website, skoogmusic.com. If I scroll down to the footer of that site, you'll see there's various resources. And in extras, if I click extras, I think it's in extras. I'm hoping it's in extras. Yes. Scroll down there and it says arranging music for Skoog. So if I view that, it's a PDF file. I can download and save it as well, and it has various suggestions for Skoog for melody 5 notes or less, how to arrange it, how best to sort things out, doing things if tunes have more than 5 notes that you're wanting to do, you're wanting to involve students in a group activity, then little tips like missing passing notes or replacing one note another note in reference to it might be better to get you're placing a note with a consonant sound to support the melody as opposed to, you know, messing with it, playing chords and how to assign those. So that's a really useful resource. Please do make use of that. If you've got materials that you're planning to use with the group, have a look through this and see how you can intertwine the two things. Another thing to check out, if you are looking at starting a series of group instrumental sessions and you're planning to use Skoog, it may well be worth focusing initially on one of the packs that we have that you could use for everyone. So if I go to transcriptions now, and we were to look, not at, although yes, I mean, hold the notes, that would be awesome. I would say, you know, look at this Learning Traditional Notation pack. Now, I've already downloaded this to my desktop, so I'm just going to switch out my screen share, go to my desktop here, start screen share, there we go. And let's just move the Google hand to the side so we don't get that recurring window into the soul that happens there. And I'm just going to minimize a few of these windows, make it simpler. So where is that? Learning Traditional Notation. So in here, we've got PDF and various resources that are for the Skoog. Now it talks you through everything that you need, how to set things up, and all the different things. And this is based on Les Cinq Droites by Stravinsky, which are simple melodies composed for the right hand with 5 notes or less, and there's various ones teaching various basic concepts. Now, interestingly, you could either use the Skoog scores as an initial starting point, and then you can progress to translating that onto stave notation, but still using the colored dots, similar to that clip that I showed you of Martina up in Ness, where she was using stickers to augment the traditional notation. And that's a really easy way of supporting people initially and then progressing. And these simple melodies, these nice pieces, for piano and for simple melody, and could be used with a small group or a class, and would give you, quite a lot of material to start. And different, from Allegro, Larghetto, Moderato. The different pieces give quite different textures and feels. Maggie has also done backing tracks to help you with this, and again, using the backing tracks and you playing as well, you can then support the kind of learning through sound and getting things into people's heads, knowing what they're going for. And Maggie has also done, I must quickly show you this, let's go to my browser whilst I've got my screen share on, just a second. Just to show you here, if you were then to go to File, New Window. Oh no, you know what? It's on YouTube, so let's use the YouTube app in the Google Hang. So if you go to the Skoog Music YouTube page, if I can just get that back, YouTube. There we are. And I will go to Skoog Software. Hopefully, yeah. So here you can see, I'm just going to pick the first one here, which is Andantiano. I won't play it all, but this also gives you a video, which is great, in terms of a resource. Oh, we need to actually do that. Can I get rid of that without? Let's skip it to the end. Les Cinq Droites Andantino. And there you can see Maggie playing along with the score, with the backing track. You can see here and experience how it's supposed to sit. It's a nice little bit of augmented resource for a class, so you can pop that up on the startboard. So you can also see and hear what you're aiming for, and it gives you support in terms of what you should be doing with your Skoog whilst you're playing that. So I go back to my screen share. Here we go. So that's, so there's already quite a bulk of resources that we can do there. There's also various other transcription packs, other classical packs if you're in that area, or if you're, it's a lot of good ukulele courses that people are using a lot in primary school to do things. And again, uke tuning, easily done with Skoog. Just, C, G, A, tune up the strings and adjust them to get them sounding right. Very easy to do, how we showed you. And using that and thinking, so how can I use this device in that sense? You can support a whole range of initial beginner group music activity using Skoog and include those students who otherwise may not get a chance to start down that route. It's so important. I mean, there was with the new funding that's been made available through the by the national plan, the extra 18 million in the UK, then, and a call today from the Matt Youth Music so that we need to be more inclusive, not just in terms of abilities, but also in terms of the type of music that we're playing. And in that sense, one of the things that Skoog can offer is the ability to include students to play, anything through using pentatonic tunings and enabling improvisation and creativity. So let's have a little look at how we might do that. And this may be of particular relevance if you're watching this, say, from the States, and you're doing some kind of life skills kind of class or group work where you have various students of varying abilities and you need to create activities to engage and enable those students. Some will be able to play instruments, maybe able to follow notation or learn or play by ear, and some may not. And then using Skoog, you can support all of your students to be able to take part and express themselves. So But actually, quickly before we move off that, just a quick note again on open tuning. So as well as tuning to open strings, you can actually tune to open chords as well. Allow you to play, as if you're playing bar chords on a guitar, and that would also work incredibly well with Skoog. Let's just show you quickly how that might transpire. Although we are running out of time. So yes, simply you could look up open tuning on guitars. Take a note of what that might be, tune the Skoog to that, and then the individual playing Skoog can then, using their feet or hands or chin or whatever it is where they used to, could, by interacting with it, contribute to the overall kind of tonal scene and start to create their kind of improvised part. I know that the Joy of Sound practitioners in London use this technique a lot, using Skoog successfully to engage their clients who don't or can't use the traditional kind of cantale or harps or tuned guitars that they use, and then you can use Skoog to achieve that type of inclusive group improvisation together and support it in that way. So again, it's really very simple. It's a matter of just accessing the right instrument sound and then selecting the tuning that you require, and then presenting the Skoog in a way that is usable by the individual. A quick note on that, actually. So I've got my Skoog here. I'm just going to change the instrument sound so I've got something that's a bit easier for you to hear. I'm going to change to a plucked string. Okay, let's do a steel string guitar. And let's change the notes as well. So the key thing with Skoog is presenting it in the right place or way, as it were. So let's turn a few things around here so we can... There we go. So for me, presenting like this is good because I can use both hands. But if I could only use one hand, it may be better for me to play something in this kind of way. Let's just change this around so that it's towards me like this, and I can kind of access all of the points. So doing it like that, you can see it's starting to... There we go. I need to reset the Skoog now, having changed its position on the mount. I need to unplug it, plug it back in again, and then I need to hit the USB reset button in the software, which is in the top right hand of the software, reconnect my Skoog. There we go. So now I can do that. So I can play with one hand there, as you can see. I can play that with an elbow. Last week we had a chap playing with his head here. So again, find the right way of presenting it so that it's both accessible and comfortable, and try and support that each time. So once you've found the right physical place for the Skoog to make the best range of available movement and control, then make sure that you continue with that presentation so that the individual can grow and learn and support themselves. And obviously you may adjust it week to week, but try and be consistent in how it's presented. Another really, really important thing is in terms of, because Skoog is an electronic instrument, and if you're working within a group situation, then you must make sure that you have adequate amplification, but ensuring that it's not dominating or overbearing within the group. So it must be able to make itself heard. They must be able to make a good sound. It must have a decent presence. We've got various recommendations on speakers that you can use. Please don't use the smartboard speakers or a pair of speakers that are built into the wall within a room, because each individual, when you're learning your instrument, you have your own sound. It comes from the acoustic instrument that you're playing, allows you to localize yourself, identify yourself within the group, and you own it, and it has a physical space for you. And in order to provide that same kind of cognitive kind of leverage for the individual using Skoog, it's important that their sound is with them too. So if the sound for the electronic instrument is kind of booming out over a PA or coming out from different locations to where the individual's sitting, and that changes that whole dynamic. And what we're going for here is inclusion, and we're trying to support people within the group. So they need their own sound. So they need a decent little speaker, a decent little amp to play through. Now, a standard kind of 30–40 pound sound dock, you know, that you might use with an iPod or an iPhone, perfect. Okay, do try different things out. If you're willing, if the school or the service or you as a teacher are using this lot, it is worth investing 100, 200 pounds in something decent by Bose or the new iRig iLoud device. That's a really good portable, battery powered. You can localize it, sit it near the individual, and they can play. And what you want is something that's got a reasonable headroom, something that you're not really playing that's turned up full all the time, but has got the presence of sound to convey the incredible quality of the Skoog physical models, which are beautiful sounding if they're amplified correctly, and that's something that a person can, you know, play with confidence, and it's something that isn't straining and therefore distorting. So yeah, that's a really important thing to stress, that you have the right support in the group. I would say that I think personally the best thing that I've used so far is a Bose L1. It's a very expensive system. That's about £700, but I mean, Nigel Kennedy uses them in his tour. The sound production is brilliant. It really makes use of the modeling in terms of conveying an accurate and true acoustic sound. You don't have to have it cranked up. It gives a really good dispersion, as if it's a real presence, but without being overpowering. But like I say, for £30–40 pounds, you can get something pretty good, or you can go as high as 800 from now on if you're lucky enough to have those resources. So, recapping a little bit, make sure that you are able to do the things that you're asking of the students with the Skoog. You will be able to do that with the instruments that you're teaching on the acoustic side, because this is why you're there, but just take a little time to familiarize yourself with the device. Don't forget that if an authority or someone is using Skoog and asking you to use it, you can download the software at home, take the Skoog, get yourself familiar with it so that you can help the individual. And really, Skoog is just an interface, but what you will be teaching them is rhythmic, placement, tone, expressive quality, as you are with all the other guys, and perhaps, you know, you have to help them a bit more with technique, whereas Skoog hopefully helps overcome technique issues because it's such an accessible device. But you still need to, you know, put in that effort to be able to convey those different things. Have a look at the repertoire of pieces that you're teaching. See if there are any within that you would standardly use that you could quite easily transcribe for Skoog if they're less than 5 notes. Download the arranging music for Skoog PDF and see how that might help you. And again, just a quick screen share, and I want to show you another resource. Let's go to my desktop, start screen share. Whoa, window into the soul. Let's get a new window. Let's go resources. There we go. And just on this very quickly, I just want to show you another resource. Transcriptions pack. Where is it? Score notate. Oh, I've gone too far. Look, Carnival of the Animals. That's a great one as well. It's great for a primary school class learning instruments. So score notation pack. If we download that, now I think I already have, but let's just do it anyway. It's very quick. It's not very big. Let's open that. And in here is instructions about how to build your own colored notation and scores using the Skoog materials. Very comprehensive. And there are templates for using just in Word, very simple, and then you have all the note sizes in the different colors. Dead easy. So that then you could look at the resources you're planning to use and Skoogify some of those, allowing individuals to start on the Skoog resources. Or, like I say, go to Staples and download, not download, go to Staples and download. Go to Staples and buy some of the colored stickers. Let's stop that screen share. And yeah, so buy some of the colored stickers and just augment the score that you have. You can go to the notes section of the Scoob software, and you can set the notes accordingly so that they work with the color the way that you've done it. So you assign one of the notes to each of the colors, and you have to make sure there's just the 5 there. And then save the note file using the Save button at the bottom of the notes selection page on the Skoog music software. Give it a sensible name. Put it somewhere easy to find. You can easily load it from a stick if it's something you have to take into a school or into a class. And then you can augment your resources appropriately. Explore the Stravinsky resources we've got for learning simple melodies and looking at transitioning from the colored notation into more traditional notes and staves. and have fun. Now, the last thing we've not got to, that I wanted to talk about just a very little bit in terms of inclusion, is this idea of inclusion not just in reference to physical or learning difficulties, but also in terms of taste and style. And I want to show you very quickly how you can use Skoog to enable anyone to start improvising the music that they love, and even as a group, very quickly. So I'm going to go, what am I going to do? I'm going to do a couple of things. I just need to start photo boost so that I can still let you see physically what I'm doing on the Skoog. So if you just bear with me for just a second, I need to find photo booth, there it is. And where am I going to stick that? Let's stick that there. Let's stick this over here, and I'm going to do a screen share. And what I want to do is show you how, using a combination of Skoog's own resources, YouTube, and the software, we can get something really, really special happening really quickly. And in terms of inclusion, allowing people to play with music that they love, and that they want to, and that they're engaged in. How can I get rid of that? There. So, here we are. There's my Skoog. I'm going to select clarinet. There we go. Now, I want to go to Skoog Music. Oh, I've closed it. Resources. So let's do Skoog in here. Just type in Skoog. Will be the first thing that pops up. I promise you. There we go. Skoog Music. Oh, you can't see me anywhere. There we go. Hello. So if I go to the Skoog website, I'm going to go through to the resources section. Now, all you need to do to really support this kind of inclusion in reference to musical styles is be able to identify the particular key that a piece of music is in. Now, you don't have to have perfect pitch or training for that. Look it up. Okay, there's loads of really great sites. There's e-chords, there's loads of other tab sites that give you information on what key things are in. We've got a few here, and I'm going to show you these as a resource that might be a really good icebreaker, a really good resource to get a group going, get them started. And also what would be, I think, really useful in this is, particularly if you're starting with a group of young musicians who are perhaps looking at learning an instrument for the first time, allowing them all to choose a song that they like and play Skoog. You don't have to be disabled to play Skoog. It's an easy-to-play musical instrument. And this will give them the confidence to know that they can do it, they are musical, they have it in them, and let them play around a bit. So let's think of it from that context, okay? So I go to Top Tunes. Here we go. I'm afraid the internet is a little slow on this machine whilst I'm streaming, so I do just have to bear with me a little bit. And I'm going to go to Pop Tunes, click that link, there we go. Now on this page, it's continually growing, continually evolving, lots of different styles, like there's Gangnam Style there, first off. Maybe we should just do that. I've not heard that in a while, and it's a ridiculous tune, but you know, let's do it. So if I click the Gangnam Style link, there's various information there, and there's things I can do with scores, but what I want to focus on is this idea of engaging people to improvise and play, be expressive, be musical. And I think this would have a profound impact on starting groups, allowing them to try different. Also, the other thing that's great with Skoog is you can allow anyone to try different instrument sounds to see how they like it, how they respond. Okay, so here's various information, but the main thing is select B minor pentatonic scale to improvise this song on your Skoog. Okay, there is a YouTube link. I click the link. It goes to a YouTube page. Now this may take a little while to load up. We may have to look at an advert or two. Let's just do that. But meanwhile, back on my Scoob software, I'm going to go to the note selection tab here. There it is. And I'm going to select minor pentatonic B. Now is it B or B flat? Wait a minute. B or B flat? B minor. Okay. B minor pentatonic. Okay, I've got that, and I am ready to rock and roller. Now all we need is for Sai to start streaming to me, and hopefully I can't hear anything yet. Right now I can. Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. 낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는
밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자 그런 반전 있는 여자 낮에는 너만큼
So you can see I'm just having fun at working hard. I'm writing my own little parts, exploring composition, improvisation, all very, very quickly, all with a tune that I want to play with. And that is something that you could support, and actually you could take that paradigm and expand it into, and if you were doing, you know, say you had a few old battered acoustic guitars, and you could tune them to open B minor, and let everyone kind of strum and engage, you know. And you know, it doesn't have to be limited. This approach doesn't have to be limited to Skoog, but Skoog does make it particularly easy to do. So that's first of our inclusive instrument provision kind of things. A few tips, a few useful resources pointed out. Do explore the different things. I mean, one of the things, as with all teaching, particularly with groups, is making sure that you've got the resources and it's all ready to rock. I think if you are using Skoog in a school, if you're taking your own laptop, great. But if you're relying on school IT resources, make sure you've got someone there from IT to help on the initial couple of things to make sure everything's set up right. You will need a little bit of extra setup time because it is something that requires. I mean, it's not long, but you've got to open the laptop, start it, load in some notes. It's like 2 or 3 minutes, but that will impact on your setup time. So make sure you're there and you're ready. Remember, presentation, consistent, find the right place, and it might well be worth in those situations talking to the physio or the OT on staff, if they have one, about the particular physical abilities of the individual, where might be best to place the Skoog to make full range of movement. And remember, you don't have to touch. I started to play it. I can play it all from one point by sort of wiggling, making contact and wiggling. So don't forget that. It's really an adaptable device. We've got loads of resources, explore them, and if you've got any questions, simply email us at skoogmusic.com and ask. It's been a pleasure. I'll speak to you all soon. Take care. Have a great week.